go ahead and get started here. We'll open up for questions. We'll begin with Mike Singer. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Michael. Doc just announced that Patrick Beverley will be available for Game 1. How does he impact what they do, and specifically, what does he do for them in terms of their defensive identity?
He's a very good defender. I think we all know that. On the ball, applies tremendous ball pressure. And last time, I think when we played them in LA, starting Patrick Beverley, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, you have three elite defenders on the perimeter, and they all took turns guarding Jamal Murray. So obviously we're going to have to do a great job of screening, getting our guys open, and try to limit the amount of ball pressure those guys apply. So yeah, we knew he'd be available. He's a competitor, and we're welcoming him that challenge.
All right, next question will go to Kendra Andrews. Kendra, go ahead.
Michael, this Clippers team is very different than the Jazz that you just faced. Are there any kind of adjustments or takeaways that you can take from that first series and apply it to such a different team?
Yeah, the takeaways are, regardless of who we play, we have to defend. The reason we came back from being down 3-1, yes, Nikola was outstanding in Game 7. Yes, Jamal Murray got us to Game 7. But the reality is this. If we don't defend and rebound the way we did and our 3-game winning streak, we would never have gotten to this point. And that's the takeaway. Regardless of who you play, we cannot give up three-point line, paint, and offensive rebounding and expect to beat anybody. And that's why we won those 3 games, because our defense significantly improved. Our rebounding was tremendous in those last 3 games. And we'll have to do the same thing. This is a very physical LA Clipper team that's going to try to get into us and turn us over and score easy points off that. So we cannot fuel their break. We have to limit them to 1 shot. They're the number 1 offense in the playoffs, so we can't give them extra possessions.
All right, next we'll go to Dan Wojcicki with the LA Times. Dan, go ahead.
Hi, Michael. Obviously, we saw last night in both games the importance of being able to close out on shooters without fouling or almost fouling or whatever it was. How do you coach something like that, and how important do you think that'll be in a series where you've got guys like Paul George and Lou Williams who take a lot of contested shots?
Yeah, it's really important. Obviously, something we preach all the time is defending without fouling. And as you mentioned, Lou Williams is, when he's done playing, he should teach a class at a local university, because he's the master of drawing those fouls. Paul George as well. And we're always preaching as coaches, we want to contest every jump shot. But you have to be smart about how you go about it. You have to let that player land. You can't go from A to B. You have to defend without using your hands and making that contact. And those were game-changing plays last night in the playoffs. So we've had our issues with that at times, especially against a guy like Lou. And that's where you just need discipline. And hopefully we'll be able to have that, because if you put them on the foul line, not only are they scoring easy points, that'll also allows them to control tempo and set their defense up. So we want to make sure that we're defending without fouling, we're rebounding, and trying to get some pace into our game.
All right, next we'll go back to Mike Singer. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Michael. Obviously, no team has the perfect personnel to defend Kawhi and PG. But how confident are you in your 3 perimeter guys, in Torrey, Jeremy, and Gary, that they can at least impede or maybe slow them down a little bit?
Very. I mean, that's who we have. So I think both Jeremy and Torrey and even Gary, those 3 guys have shown us time and time again of their ability, their willingness to go out there and guard some of the best players in the NBA. I think we're coming off of a Game 7 win where we saw plenty of examples of that, especially from Gary. And now, obviously, the difference is it goes from Donovan Mitchell, Jordan Clarkson, and Mike Conley to now supersize it. Now you have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and then Lou Williams off the bench. So, yes, they're going to test us. This will be a hell of a challenge. This Clipper team is a team that a lot of people have picked to win the NBA championship. Can we find a way to emotionally get ourselves ready to play after such a crazy first round? Because I know the Clippers have been waiting for this. They've been dying to get back on that court, and it's going to be a great challenge for all of our guys.
All right, we have time for one more here. We'll end with Joel Rush. Joel, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. You talked yesterday of taking a mental day. How do you think that went for the players? Did it accomplish what you were hoping for in terms of transitioning psychologically and preparing for the next game?
We'll find out. I think it was the right call. Our guys were gassed. As I mentioned many times, Joe, they were gassed both physically from an exhausting series, going to Game 7. A lot of guys played high minutes, and they were really drained emotionally from everything that it took to come back from a 3-1 deficit. And in the middle of that, the work stoppage that took place, the uncertainty if the players were even going to continue. So we mental day in terms of preparing, and I liked their energy as shoot around today. That was important. I walked off that court this morning with a good vibe that our guys were excited, that we had energy, and I think yesterday was great for us to get off of our feet and limit the amount of movement so we could prepare and get the necessary rest.
All right, Coach, that'll do it. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.